Howdy, folks. Welcome aboard the channel. I'm Don. This is Rockin' the Country, doing another gift request, and this one is from Kyle Perkins. Kyle, shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for this. The Tin Man by Kenny Chesney. Now, if I had my hat up here, I'd be wearing it, but it's in storage right now because I just moved a month ago. And but I have a hat that actually is very similar to what Kenny wears. And people have said that I look like Kenny, which I don't see it. But of course, I've been staring at this mug for all 63 years of my life. So in any case, The Tin Man. And you said this is different than Miranda's song and America's song. Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man that he didn't already have. And Miranda's Tin Man is beyond belief. I did that one some years back. But I don't know this song of Kenny's. So let's find out what we've got. The Tin Man. Thank you for this gift, Kyle. Yeah, these songs are always poignant.
Saw a man in the movies that didn't have a heart. How I wish I could give him mine.
Oh, he's got a broken heart.
Then I wouldn't have to feel it breaking all apart, and this emptiness inside would suit me fine. It's times like these I wish I were the Tin Man.
I'll bet that was a possibility for an alternate title for this song. It's Times Like These. I bet that was a strong candidate. Not the Tin Man. They went with the Tin Man, obviously, but I bet that was. This is also a philosophical song about what makes us human. This concept of the Tin Man, about I give you my heart because I'm hurting. One of the first things you study in a philosophy class, and I was a philosophy major and criminal justice major at Rutgers back in the day, is what makes us human. And you study so many concepts about life. And we are sentient creatures, human beings, pleasure and pain. And you study these from so many different perspectives. And I say this too to people who go into studying psychology at the collegiate level, kids, and I'll say, what do you want to do with that? Do you want to go on and get your PsyD? Do you want a clinical research? What do you want to do? Practical, and to become a therapist, an LSW, and very frequently say, no, I want to understand my family better, or this better. And my thinking is, what you really want to do is study philosophy. Because it isn't just these esoteric head in the clouds things. You really dissect things from so many different standpoints. And that's what the Tin Man represents, is sentience. Like, is it better to feel because you can feel pain? Can you feel pain without feeling joy? Can you feel joy without knowing pain? And these have implications for heaven, so to speak, ideas of a pain-free existence. What do you feel if you don't understand the downside of things? Look at this, we're 44 seconds in and I'm off and running.
You could hurt me all you wanted, and I never even know. I'd give anything just to be the Tin Man, and I wouldn't have a heart, and I wouldn't need a soul.
You got to manage your heart best you can.
Couldn't see your leaving coming. You took me by surprise. Even now it still seems like a dream. But I know I can't be dreaming, 'cause as I lay down each night, the pain's so great that it won't let me sleep. It's times like these need a soul. Well, I'd give anything just to be the Tin Man.
Just to be out of pain.
And I wouldn't have a heart. I wouldn't miss you so.
That Miranda's song was inspired by this one. One of the things about this song that points out is that we human beings are wired, and so many studies have borne this out, where even in risk analysis, that we are wired for pain avoidance or loss avoidance more than we are for pleasure attaining or gain, like in the financial markets. And it's absolutely fascinating. And I've listened to numerous seminars that have brought this up or focused on it, that we are wired to avoid pain. Not merely avoid pain, but when you place pleasure or pain in front of someone, and depending on how you couch the question or word it, people overwhelmingly will make an irrational illogical choice. There's a difference between a logical and irrational choice. People don't want to lose. People don't want to be in pain. We'd rather be numb, obviously, than be in pain. But when you can if you have a 5 times greater chance of having joy than being in pain, depending on how you word the question or set the problem up, if you bring pain into the equation, most people will not take the risk, even though there's a 5 times greater chance of attaining some measure of joy, however you calculate that. And mathematically, if you will, when actuaries and economists do their risk assessments of things and try to understand markets, the reason you cannot predict what's going to go on exactly in the markets, for example, is because people do things illogically. They say irrationally, but it's not. In economist terms, rationality has a whole different concept. But this is the type of song that points on a deeper level, if you will, to the fact that when you're in pain, obviously you don't want to be in it. But we go into relationships knowing they may end. We get pets knowing they're going to die long before we do. And when that moment comes, especially if it's a dog, and I know horse people, same thing, but you're just absolutely obliterated. The day is coming, yet we do it anyway to have the joy in the meantime. And that's what we do with relationships. We know the relationship may not work out. We go on that first date, that second date, then we have the kiss, and then whatever. And then we start to allow our heart to go, especially if you've been hurt before. You're a little more measured. And then you're like, all right, I'll keep taking the next step forward in this relationship, still knowing it might end. And if it does end, you wind up wishing you weren't in that pain, obviously. But yeah, life is risk. Everything we do is a risk. Not going into the relationship comes with risk. And going into the relationship comes with risk. Not going into a relationship means you're not going to experience the joys of being with another person. And but you won't experience the pain of a breakup. We each have our own ways through that situation. And the only way to get through grief is to grieve. And then in relationship terms, the way you get over the bad memories of a prior relationship breakup is to start new memories, get new memories with a new person. And you don't do it for that purpose. You still have to find that way. And this is the challenge of it being genuine. Rebound relationships, they rarely work. Not never. Sometimes they do, but it's very rare because you haven't addressed the things you need to address. So Kyle, this is a good one. I mean, yeah, Kenny can sing a ballad, and I've said this before. There are A-listers who cannot sing a ballad. They're just not believable. They sound flat. They don't sound like they have that emotionality. But Kenny is believable when he sings a ballad. This was just beautiful. So I'm going to rate this one, and I got to be true to the number that pops into my head. And this was a 9.3. And I think it was just for the simple fact that it got me reliving, uh, just bringing out all these philosophical, psychological constructs and ideas, really, about the way we process life. You either want to take the risk or you don't. And if you wind up in pain, you got to deal with it and then move on and wait for the joyful moments to return, because they'll return. They will if you look for them. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day. I'll see you on another video, and keep rocking the country.